In today's video, we're going to take a look at this 9.5% dividend yield earner, which is MO Altria Group. Now, the interesting thing about MO is they follow somewhat closely with Philip Morris. However, Philip Morris USA, which contains the Marlboro cigarettes, are owned by Altria Group. So the earnings for the USA products get grouped inside of MO. So if you are looking at, say, cigarette usage as an overall trend, and you might buy into the premise that you think it might be, say, temporarily rising, then MO Group might be interesting. However, if you might be under the premise that, say, Philip Morris or cigarettes outside of the US might be rising, then you might be looking at this idea with something more like Philip Morris or even British tobacco company BTI, where the dividend yield is at least a little bit better, similar to MO. Now, MO is what I'm going to be using for today's video, and the symbol that stands out to me. The reason I like Altria Group is the following. On the daily and the weekly time frame chart, we have a lot of these oversold signals, which to me tells us that, hey, the stock, which has been beaten down for quite some time, may be hitting that place where we start to see some buyers step in. Seems like a good risk to reward opportunity for what might be possible on the upside, especially if you're getting a good entry price. Now, while you wait for all of this chop to maybe make some sense, you're getting paid fairly handsomely in terms of the dividend yield for a stock which typically doesn't tend to offer 9.5% plus yields. The last time the dividend yield was in this range was during the COVID period, where we broke above the 10% mark. And if you take a look at the dividend from that time, it was 84 cents. That dividend has only increased over time, where we're currently close to 98 cents. So yet another reason to like Altria Group. Now, if we take a look at this on the weekly time frame chart, you should notice something similar with our edge signal confirmations. Now, the other thing that also stands out is on the daily time frame chart, it feels like we're starting to see momentum reverse. We had our bullish momentum cross post-earnings with this large green candle, and earnings seemed to have this positive optimism associated with it. After that, we saw a little bit of selling where it seemed like the bears were trying to resume control, before again the bulls defended this level, not really letting the bears go a whole lot of anywhere. And now you've seen the bulls gather some strength with what looks like a two-legged little recovery before the next leg up higher. At least that's how I'm reading price action here. So the daily time frame looks really solid. The weekly time frame here to me looks like its gathering seem to at least make it up to the market pulse, which is close to 42. That's about a 3.69% gain. And in case you have to wait around a little bit, that dividend yield is fairly nice that I think it makes sense to wait around. To me, it also feels like this market pulse might switch to green, which if you take a look, the last few times it switched to that stage of acceleration, it's actually been the sign that, hey, this bullish momentum might be reversing soon. So I'm trying to take advantage of being towards the bottom end of this range, try and take a move up to 42 or 43, where we might start to face some resistance, and take advantage of this high dividend yield as we wait, 9.58%, which is, again, over the past 5 years, in our uppermost quadrant, telling us that you're getting a good deal. I hope you found today's video useful for those of you looking at trying to find some next play that you might be at least evaluating further. Altria Group looks very interesting from both the actual valuation perspective, not using the dividend discount model, but their actual earnings, along with their dividend yield and the technicals. BTI looks like another way to try and play this, where that trend has already switched to acceleration. So you might be looking at this as just a pullback. And if you take a look at where the dividend yield inside of BTI stands, again, very much towards the highs that we've seen over the past 5 years. Take care, everyone. Good luck trading, and I'll see you in our next update.